Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today I'm going to be repotting my dogwood, this red-osier dogwood, and it has refused to go deciduous this winter, and it's already coming out into leaf. This is fresh looking growth. It's not the very slow kind. Before this, any growth, the leaves were not pointed like upward. There wasn't like, didn't look like they were trying to reach upward and grow outward. They were just kind of opening up like this, really slowly kind of putting out new sets of leaves. But these look a bit stronger. These are more acute and they're appearing on almost every single branch. Oh, why is this so flexible? What is going on here? I don't know. Oh, they're all flexible. What is going on? Maybe it's green like this because these are all leaves that came in and after I came back from Colorado in June. This is a native dogwood, Cornus sericea, and we have a few dogwoods here. There's Pacific dogwood. There's Cornus pacifica, I believe, and I've seen that in Yosemite. And I have some right here. They're in this pot here, which I will be repotting. Oh, those Yosemite dogwoods, they're a lot later. Not just because I don't know. I think they're later. They're a later species in spring than this species. So I need to get my root rake. We're getting a period of cloudy weather, which is great, but it's still warm. It's still warmer. I mean, we're not getting frost anymore. I mean, there is some. We might get below 40 degrees. Or, I mean, well, we might get below 5 degrees Celsius in like a week. But that's just not enough for me. I feel like a larch. If I was a tree, I'd be like an aspen. I don't like these warm winters. I need snow. I need at least one snow. And I need some hard frosts to be happy during winter. I want to make snow angels with a tank top on. That's something I really yearn for sometimes, but I feel like when I do go up into Tahoe in a few days for this weekend, I will not feel like doing that. But I do feel like repotting this tree right now because it's telling me by leafing out that I need to repot it. I read the trees. This is all our patio gravel. I'm gonna keep it. This is nice. But the other soil that is in here is not as great. And this pot is very flimsy. I don't know why this root ball just wants to kind of push outward on the pot. I think the pot just has like rounded sides, but I'm gonna get my tray. Okay. There are in the wild, in the creek, there are still some leaves on the dogwoods I got this cutting from. This will be the second root pruning I do. Second repotting, and I'm gonna plant it in a different container. I don't like these pots. Does this pot work any better? This pot's better. This pot's more stiff. I like that. There's this pot, which is really sturdy. I don't know why they make these pots. These are so horrible. But maybe there's a... Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's like a trade-off, I don't know? Like a... Something cost? I don't know. But this is probably going to be the pot for it. So it looks like it has grown a really nice root system. Like I see a lot of fibrous roots, and I don't think that would have been possible without all these grains. So I'm going to keep all these grains of it's a feldspar and a granite. So yeah, I think that really helped with the root, the amount of growth tips, because they're really densely branched roots. And the soil sounds like really nice when I rake through. It shouldn't sound kind of quiet. It should be really loud and grainy. Oh, there's big massive roots here. So maybe I can keep all the soil. Maybe I could just filter out all the fines. Oh yeah, look at all those root tips. That is what your root base should look like when you're repotting a bonsai in good bonsai soil. Lots of root tips, because the roots divide when they hit a grain, a particle. Yeah. And having grains allows you to work the soil into the roots. So there are no air spaces. You're done kind of positioning the tree in the pot. But there's a step that I have not reached yet in this repotting. Now all the roots are going quite radially. That is nice. I do have the option. I have a little pot. I have a pot that I can plant this in. This is a smaller scale dogwood. They don't really get that big. So I think I've got pretty much the basic structure planned out. However, I don't want it branching like this, because this is problematic. I could have it like this, but this branch here on this side is way too big, because this is the one I let grow wild, and I feel like I should have pruned it like this one and kept it skinnier and more in scale with the trunk. I think it's time to wash this root system now. So I will do that. Okay. So I think I'm gonna sift the soil right now. Now, maybe some of these particles are a little small, but I'll just sift it anyway. Okay, this is difficult. At least I can get the roots out. Oh! That pretty much got all the little fines out. That's nice. There are some ones that are too big. I want a mostly consistent size. That's okay for some variation. Okay, now I will add it to the bucket. Gotta re-stir my soil real quick, I'll do that. So now, here comes the root pruning. So I don't think I need to do a much corrective root work at all, because this root system is very nice. I'm gonna switch hands. I'm using this part as I'm gonna cut these off because I know I'm gonna prune this branch off shorter so that I could use this as a handle. This really helps. Oh, this root is too high. I want one root plane. In fact, I think I am going to position so you can see my view a little bit better. My viewpoint. I feel like it's easier to see it from the side. So I'm looking for flowing roots. I can see the bottom of the cutting. I flattened the root base out. So I think I'll prune off any roots that are going towards the middle. I don't want any roots tucked under the tree because they eventually, when they get larger, they kind of stay like that and they get really hard to correct. You have to kind of cut them off. But you also can't really position them very easily into a better location. You just have to prune them. And someone asked me in one of my recent videos, what method do I use wire? I do not. Only if if there's like a branch, like it's usually like one branch that I don't like the position of it. So if it's bending in a direction I don't want, I might use wire to kind of like bend it in a direction that I think is better. But I just find it really risky because it's probably a combination of not knowing how to use wire, but also but also that wire just does it often leaves scars. So it's a combination of my knowledge, but also what the wire does. That I don't know. It leaves scars. The wire leaves scars, and that's why I don't use wire. I use clip and grow because I like to follow. I like to let the trees decide what angles they branch at. So a firethorn or a hawthorn, poplars. I'll show you a poplar. Poplars love to grow up. They just love to reach upward, even on the side branches. And you'll see, like the Lombardy poplars, they planted them in rows as windbreakers in Central Valley, and they grow just straight up, like Italian cypress, but deciduous. A different pattern of growth is a hawthorn. Hawthorns, they have very angular growth. You can see here, it has very angular growth. It's almost 90 degrees. And I like to keep that because hawthorns in nature have a very chaotic branch structure. Poplars, on the other hand, have a very smooth and flowing branch structure. And they go up like this, and they reach for the sky, and almost every branch end is curved upward. So I like to respect and follow the natural habit of growth that each tree and even species of tree has. So like, yeah, a maple with all the branches trained to grow down like a pine. Pines naturally do that, but maples don't. Maples rarely, I mean, yeah, they don't naturally, they don't naturally grow with a single trunk, really chaotic movement, and then all branches going like down like that. No, they have, even when they're old and even when they're weather beaten, they still hold on to their kind of form of growth, but it's usually, you may have a twisty trunk, but you know, the branches, they kind of come out like this. They kind of flow smoothly. On like a mature tree, a mature maple growing out in a field, you're gonna have a kind of a relatively, you know, the trunk is gonna be shorter than the height of the tree. It's gonna flow up like this, and then off of those, you know, kind of trunk divisions, you have these lateral branches going outward and kind of fanning outward and slightly arching. While doing so, they are dividing and branching. Yeah. And different maple species grow slightly different, but overall, maples in nature love to produce like multiple trunks coming up, multiple dominant branches reaching towards the sky, and then the finer branches branch off of that. For Japanese maples, a lot of Japanese maples like to grow in clumps, as far as I know. I think they're pretty sure they grow different depending on like whether they're growing in the middle of a forest. Because in a forest, things are forced to grow taller and skinnier, just like our succulents when they're indoors. So when maples, big leaf maples that are native here, in a redwood forest, they can get like up to 100 feet tall, and they don't have much taper along their trunk, and all the branches are at the top. You also can't really see the trunk texture because it's just so covered with moss and epiphytic ferns and stuff. Huckleberries, I don't know. No, the huckleberries grow in redwoods. The maples are too smooth. They'll not have enough nooks and crannies on the maple bark for epiphytes to really grow large. But anyway, yeah, that's my philosophy on the method I use for bonsai. So I've flattened the root base. So now I'm going to assume that the tree stands on its own. Yes. So, oh wait, actually, oh, I have a new style in mind. Okay. Oh, I'm going to keep this trunk. This entire part here is going to be a side branch. A big side branch. I'm going to reduce it a little bit. I have those nodes here. I have a division here. That would root as a cutting possibly. I'm not going to try it because I already have a few dogwoods. And this one's very successful. Yeah. I am gonna remove this part here, as well. But I just like kind of tilted it like this and was like, oh, I can see that being part of the future. So, yeah, I'm gonna continue root pruning, and I'm going to kind of look at the new tilt. I'm going to prune the roots and flatten them off in proportions to the angle that I want to plant this at. Oh, I hear the graininess. I'm cutting through dirt. God damn it. Oh. The water's too dirty. It's gonna grind them up even more. Look at this. I'll flatten this root base out even more. No. I don't need to. Do it slightly a bit more. I don't want to prune it all the way back to the cutting because these roots on the bottom are also nice. I'm going to pause the video. There's some time being wasted. I take that back. There's actually a lot of details for you to see. I thought there was a spider hanging right in front of my face. These roots, I'm just pruning these roots that are going up. You know, I have been really considering it lately. I've been thinking about stopping filming videos with my iPhone and switching to a Nikon camera, which I have. Because I remember my dad saying that you can make videos with them. I thought previously that you can only take pictures, but now that I can take those videos setting, I can probably move to a Nikon camera and therefore show you me like taking pictures of plants and, you know, I don't know. It'd be fun to like have my Nikon camera in one hand and my, you know, I'm just rinsing this off. There's still dirt in it. Okay, that's better. So, yeah, I am considering that, but I just kind of procrastinate a little bit. But I do think it would be valuable to have. And it would also get me better quality footage. And the pictures I have from the Nikon camera are really, really good. Because those cameras are actually like professional. And in the bonsai zone, Nigel Saunders uses one of those kind of cameras. It may not be a Nikon, but one of those cameras where you could put them on a tripod or, you know, attach them to a strap and hang it over your shoulder, I guess. So it's one of those kind of cameras. And his footage is really nice. Now the editing process is going to be different, and I'll have to get used to that. So I think they will have to best be done during summer when I'm least busy on YouTube. Any videos I make during YouTube is I'm just trying to find something to do that I can also show you, like going on a walk or I don't know, those creek videos. Yeah, but I think it would be useful. But I don't know. I think I have a lot of stuff going on this coming summer, so we'll see if I have time. We'll see if there'll be a sudden increase in the quality of my footage. Just saw some upward roots here. There is a root base developing on this. There are some root flare. Okay. Branch cutters. Little knobs. Little knobs that I don't want. There is a knob right here. I cut it flush. Okay. There's another one. I don't want to cut too deeply. It's risky with these kind of tools. Okay, there's another one, and then third time's a charm. And I'll be able to plant the tree. No! I gotta cut this. cut this tree. We're at a good position. So now I'm gonna cut this. So now it's a bit more compact. I still want to prune these tips. Prune this to here. This stub is kind of fooling me, so how's that? No, it's a bit too much. I kind of want a little bit more of a pad that also no, I'm gonna prune right here. I'm gonna prune here. I'm gonna get branches in better directions here. But since these have opposite leaf arrangements, I'm trying not to make it look like a, you know, a square tree. This tree wants to grow at 90 degrees. No, 45-degree angles. It wants to grow at 45-degree angles, and it wants to divide. The branches want to divide into 90 degrees. So yeah. Now this branch, this branch. There's barely, oh wait a second. Okay, so I'm gonna prune this little one off. Yes. And I have a node, I have a hidden node right in the middle of this space here. So I'm gonna prune this off just ahead of that node. So there's that branch pad. There is a branch coming off of the base of this. I don't want that. I don't want to rub it off because I never know what could happen to that little branch. No, I don't want this one. So now, could this be the leader? I think that would be a good leader. Yeah, that's gonna be the leader. This is, hold on. No. This is a better front. This is a better front. Because it has a better root flare, and you can even see that like there's a root here, there's like a vein here. Can you see the water reflecting? There's a root here, a root here, a root here, and they flow so nicely. But here, it's kind of ugly. You can't really. It's just the trunk goes down into a big massive root, so it just goes straight out. So, speaking of, I need to correct. Okay. Well, maybe I can fix that. It's looking a bit better, but I still want this to be my front. Because this looks really nice. Yeah, so I guess this will be the leader, and therefore I don't think I want this branch. Decisions. You know what? I like that. I like that because now I have this branch and that branch and this branch. So that's good. But I still love this way more as a leader than this. Because there's a straight section here, and I don't want that much straight section before like the leader changes direction. I want it to kind of, so that's why I was initially thinking this would be the good front. You see, you know, like you'd have a trunk going like this and that, and then you have curve it like this, and maybe this leaf will sprout a branch and it'll go back this way slowly towards the camera. It's good to have the apex kind of leaning towards you a little bit. I don't know why, but maybe it has to do with like the perspective. Oh, there's a stub. It doesn't want to get removed, and I don't know if it can. It's not a bad stub. I can just leave it. It's fine. When it's dry, when this stub dries out, I'll be able to clean it up a little bit easier. Yeah. So these branches look very weak. Just prune them off like this. Very weak. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that. That's nice. And I'll plant it like this, so that I have a side branch. And yeah, so I will set up for that. I'm debating whether I even need this, because look at this. This pot is a horrible color for this. This pot is a horrible color for most bonsai, because I mean, unless it has like a, you know, even if this was like a plant that had really fuzzy leaves that made it look really white, like an accent plant of like, I don't know, lamb's ears, I don't know. Oh, it's getting dark. But no, this is perfect size, and I don't really care about the color yet. But any of those pots, I'm probably gonna use them. So I think this is gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little redwood screen in here so that I don't have to waste my drainage screens, and I just put that right in there. And I need to carefully weigh that down so it doesn't move around and unblock the holes. Okay. I think this is, yeah, the third time I've potted something up. No, fourth time I've potted something up into like an actual bonsai pot. Yeah. Doesn't really matter, but okay, now I'm ready to add the tree. Okay, so because the current front of the root base doesn't really match the front of the branches, which is the problem. But there's no front to the pot, so what does it matter? I'll just like make it any of these sides the front. To be like that, it perfectly fits the root base, which is, could be, yeah, it's at the root base is at a perfect level right now. So I'll add some soil, and then it will work really nicely into the roots. Now, I'm gonna try this. How well does this work? I need my tray. This piece is too big. This is a metal chopstick. It says something in Korean right here, but I don't know what it means. So that's probably, it probably is a clue that it was made in Korea. It's not as... I'll use the other end and see how that works. It's not as stiff as the other one, the elm that I worked on recently, which is now under a plastic dome for the glue to not get washed away when I'm watering it. Or if it rains. It's not going to rain anytime soon. It's kind of stiff in there. I mean, I can find a rock. I have a rock right here. If it's too large, it won't fit under it. Yeah, it won't. But I have this rock, which is perfect. Might have another one to hold it in place, because that is my method of tying my trees down. So, I mean, I could just use this, and I will just keep it there until the roots have established, which will be late spring. I'm gonna steal some moss, probably all of it, because it's about the same size, the square. So I'm gonna steal all this moss from this pot, because I don't know if I'm gonna keep these little Chinese elms. I know they sell them like in pretty much any bonsai nursery. It's literally one of the first things they sell is Chinese elm, because it has such nice leaves, such nice small leaves. And I think this is a cultivar. Maybe I have the large leaf kind, because mine has larger leaves and it gets fall colors. This is semi-evergreen. I don't know. That one's deciduous. This is semi-evergreen. But it's coming out into leaf soon. And it has some growing tips, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to keep them. Because I already have a nicer deciduous one that's going through a lot more exciting developments. I'm going to just peel off the whole layer. It's kind of thick. Press it down. Oh, and maybe I could just prune off this lower part. Oh, it's gritty. Should have known. This moss. This moss is very thick. I'll be right back. I'm gonna cut it really short. I'm just adding, oh, the moss. It smells like algae. It smells like seaweed when I cut it. Just adding little clippings of moss. That seems to be easier than pressing moss that's too thick onto the soil. Now, it may be brown, but it can regenerate. So it doesn't look very green, but it will green up. I'm gonna put it back in there. And I put all these shavings, clippings of moss, and I press them into the soil, and they look pretty nice. But it smells very bad. That is the only downside, and it's hardly a problem for me. Honestly, wow. This method of moss application seems to be going really, really well. So, I'm not going to try this method a whole lot more unless it's more successful, because this is a cushion moss, and these are just moss clippings that I have from here. And I just cut the moss short. really short. So yeah. Did you miss something? My battery, I got a warning. I have 10%, no, 20? 20. Probably 20. Yeah, I cut the moss very short. And yeah, these are moss clippings. So I will put the rock back on here so that it would stay, the dogwood will stay put. It will not go anywhere. Yeah, so that is good looking. That is looking good. Yeah, maybe I can put it somewhere else. That's a better location. So that is probably the cutest tree I've worked on yet. It was not quite small this last summer, but I think this summer it's gonna stay small because it has lots of potential, and it's only 3 years old and it's starting its 4th year. Yeah, so I'll just give you some chronology. This part, now we'll take the rock off. So I don't know if, okay, so I'm just gonna say, this is the chronology. So yeah, this is the cutting, this is the original cutting, this is the 2024's growth that grew like originally like 1.5 feet, and then 2025, last year, it grew 2 branches, and I had to prune them once after, you know, like in late July, because it was sucking up water so fast that, you know, during heat waves and warm periods, or when like the sun was beating down on it, it would suck up water so fast, and I had to keep up with the watering. But then after that, the new shoots, they formed branches. They formed like sub branches as they went. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna utilize that. So in the end, it was like a tree like this big, had a nice round canopy and full of branches. So they form branches very easily, and that is a good thing to know. It is a useful thing in bonsai, and an advantage. I'm going to keep the leaves on because I want to see if they fall off and get any fall colors before the new growth comes in. But I'll just give you a little look at it. So maybe somewhere here you can see like an old dogwood in like a field or something. It looks kind of old already. It looks like an old cherry tree. Because often the cherry trees, they have like a short, fat trunk, and then they have these spreading branches. So I think I'll put it here. Unless maybe I'll decide a different location, but I think this is great. And don't forget the rock. I wanted to stay put. Just in case it gets wobbled. So that's all for today. Thanks for joining me here among the watch poplars.